Hi, everyone. So I've just, if anyone's here yet, I've just clicked to go live just a few minutes earlier, just to make sure we've all got everything and to say hi before we actually start in about 1 minute's time. So if you have any pillows or cushions or a bolster with you, like a yoga prop, please go grab them. I think that's kind of all we'll need at the moment for this little class. So I hope you're comfortable in really comfy clothes and enjoying your day so far. So we'll give it a few seconds and then begin. I'm just going to double check this is wide enough so you can definitely see me. So again, if you need any more props and things, if you want to go grab your bolster, please do now. Just a little tweak so you can definitely see me when I stand up eventually. Cool. Also, if anyone has the chat function, which is on the right side of your screen, and have a question for me before we begin, please also let me know. Just give it a type in. I'll keep an eye on the chat before we keep going. So I'll just give that a second. If you've, again, got any questions in particular about your period and the stuff maybe that you have a question about, that you maybe struggle with it, or something in particular that you wanted to bring up, again, please just let me know and I'll answer it. If not, we'll begin in a few seconds. Nice. Okay, everyone can definitely see me if I stand up. Okay, cool. So don't worry, but if you don't have any questions now, at any point in the class, if you do, just head to the chat box and let me know. I'll keep an eye on it and answer any questions you might have. Okay, so before I guess we fully dive into it, let's just get comfortable. So whether that be a lying down position for you on your mat, it can be quite nice. Or if you've indeed got your bolster prop with you, it could be also quite nice to literally just kind of put it long ways and have a seat on it. Or maybe what's comfortable for you is to just sit cross-legged. Again, it could be on your bolster. It could be just cross-legged, maybe with your back on a wall so you have something to lie against as well. Whatever works best, really. So we're just going to take a little bit of time to center ourselves. So wherever you're sat or lying down, maybe you can place hands on the belly. Or it's quite nice to also cup your hands, like so, and just drop them under your belly. Just take a moment, take any little neck cracks or stretches, tiny little movements to really ease you into your little half an hour of practice here. And so practicing during your period, as I'm sure you'll know from experience, is quite a lethargic time. And we'll chat a little bit about the different couple of days and intensities we may feel. And again, everyone will be quite different with the energy levels. But I would say, and maybe you agree, that definitely the first few days are, the heaviest and the biggest changes with hormones. Or maybe you get these changes a little bit earlier, so maybe a week before, a couple of days before. I think the main point to know is that you can always go back to a very simple practice, which is just to find yourself a comfortable spot, allow your body to relax, allow your mind to relax, and kind of allowing yourself to feel a comfort that everything really is okay. And as you breathe here, just resting your hands anywhere on the belly, or cupped and loose. Picking for yourself a mantra or a little saying. So it could be, everything is okay. It could be a word like calm. It could be a word that you pick that's maybe the opposite of how you're feeling at the moment, especially if you're tired, maybe relax or energy, balance. And then let's add the words I am before it. Again, a little bit cheesy, but let's just give it a go. And every time you just take these nice, slow, deep breaths, kind of allow yourself to just repeat it in your head. I am whatever your word was. And with every exhale, really feeling that sit within your mind. Let those words resonate a little or a lot in your body, in your emotions. And really be confident and sure about that it's totally fine to sometimes take practice to this kind of point where it completely slows down, where it completely shifts its focus from maybe what you're used to practicing in our normal routines. It's a nice way to honor our bodies, honor our emotions, and honor this time of the month, our periods, our cycles. And gently blinking, open the eyes. Let's bring the hands up to the ceiling, reach them up. And for those that are lying down, maybe come up to sit and join us with our hands reached up. And taking that right hand to grab the left wrist, and just bowing a little bit to the right hand side. So just allowing the side body to stretch out. And while we're here, you're sort of going to roll into it a little. So you can access a little bit more length and comfort through the side of the body if we just don't take it static, but just move kind of front and back with it. Both hands up again, grabbing the right wrist with the left hand, and then same thing, you're just going to stretch it to the side, and then let's just move forward and back with it. Reaching the hands up, and let's just stretch out those shoulders, taking the hands behind you, interlacing the fingers, and then just reaching the arms back. And you might get a little bit of a back click maybe. And you can just enjoy maybe lifting the chest up, or you can keep the head down if you know your neck feels a little sore. And again, feel free to just take the movement nice and steady, a little left and right. Nice, and let's release the hands. Okay, let's take the head and just roll it a little. And feel free to pause in areas that feel a little bit more tense. And a lot about really shifting the gears with practicing for your period is maybe initially just this first acceptance that indeed there might need to be a shift of energy, might need to be a different shift of intention and pace for yourself, for your practice, of what it embodies and what it's for. And that is all fine, and that's great for you, and it's all okay to do that. All right, so let's come off seated position and just place your bolster anywhere in front of you. Nice. And taking the legs out in front. Okay, so as we give it a wobble, while we go into the postures, I'll sort of chat to you a little bit more about the different days and maybe how we can modify the practice and why it's good. So taking the legs in front of you, and we're going to bring them actually a little bit wider than the legs together. So slightly shuffle them a tiny bit wider. And now before we inch forward, we're just going to take the bum and peel it backwards, almost like you're trying to find the sit bones and take them back behind a little bit more. Okay, and as you do that, by the way, feel free to bend the knees if you need to. Just creep your way down. Actually, if you've got your bolster, you can also drape it over and just take it to wherever feels kind of all right for your forward fold. And so again, we're going to stay here for a little bit. So just ease yourself into it. Ease yourself not to your maximum. Again, we're learning and accepting and understanding the idea of maybe paring it back a little, and that being completely fine and actually very, very healthy for you to do. And this is especially particularly true, I think, for the first day of your period. Or maybe again, like I said, the days before, when you start to feel your energy a little waning a little, or maybe you're a little bit more frustrated. And perhaps we're feeling those things because it is a natural time for us to just dial it back. You need to harvest and kind of recoup our energy. And so the first 2 days, I would say, of modifying your practice for your period, definitely just really take it slow. Start to listen to your body. So feel free to head deeper in your forward fold, maybe putting your head down even. You can cup your head in your hands, or you can put your head on your bolster or fist stack and just enjoy a nice forward fold. Feel free to even bend the knees. And for those of you that have a really busy mind and a very busy body, you know, that you really like just doing lots of things and find it difficult to slow down for this time, you'll start to notice as actually when you practice and do start to change your practice and maybe the rest of the pace of your day for your period, that actually the days and your mood and the energy, maybe even immediately or the days after, the weeks after, feel definitely a little bit easier because we've carved out this time to have a bit more reflection just in ourselves, how we feel. It's a nice opportunity actually for us to be able to do this, recoup our energy, recenter our focus, our time, our intentions, and also rest. And really allow yourself to slump into this, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing all the parts of the body that you can. Feel free to even take big, deep breaths and sigh out any last bits of tension. Any last bits of holding on, maybe even to like, oh, I don't want to change my routine, which is what I personally struggled with. And just enjoy the pace. Enjoy the change. And see the goodness in the change. And slowly rolling yourself up. And again, moving the bolster, now taking the hands behind you. Don't know if most of you, or many of you, if you get period pain, it's quite nice to stretch out the belly a little bit, but not too much, right? So this is quite a nice one, little interim to do like a reverse table. Also nice to stretch out the shoulders and the chest. So taking the hands back behind you, the feet on the floor, lifting yourself up, and then just feeling free to kind of shift your weight left to right. Maybe the head can go back, or feel free to even keep the head up. Nice, and we can drop down. So take the feet slightly closer together. Now bring the right ankle over the left. And just gently let that knee kind of rock back and forth. And then we're going to lift up one more time. And down, releasing the leg, left ankle over that right knee, and coming up. Nice. And down. Releasing the legs out to the front and give it a bit of a wiggle. Swinging the legs behind you. Let's come to all fours. Now, for anyone that gets cramps, maybe you already do this, but I find this is really helpful doing cat and cow. But nice and slow again, and feel free to also, undulate to the side a little bit of your cat and cow. And really the main key and the main point, the takeaway from this is to change up your practice and, feel that freedom to do so. And to really start tuning in with what your body actually needs. At this time, especially, like I said, on the first few days, does it really need another vigorous practice? Or maybe should we go with the flow? Very cliched there. Literally go with the flow. And just start to tune into the body to listen to what we actually need. Nice. Tucking the toes under. We're going to push the hips all the way back. So the heels are off the floor. The knees are spread out to the side. And we're just going to rock a little bit in the hips. It's quite nice to incorporate nice little hip openers. Keep coming back to that mantra that we did in the beginning. I am, whatever your word was. And again, just lightly repeat it in your head a few times. Knees forward, coming back onto all fours. Nice. Bring the hands maybe slightly forward, get yourself quite comfortable. I'm going to reach that right arm up. And threading the needle under. So taking that right arm, thread it under the little hole you've made. And let's rest the top of the shoulder on the floor and really dump your weight onto it. The left fingertips can maybe stretch forward as you send that left hip back. And this can be quite a nice side body stretch, which again is a quite nice one to stretch to kind of make more space in the abdomen. Maybe quite nice to soothe any cramping. Bring the hands back onto your mat and taking that left arm up in the air and then the other way, threading it under. Allowing the weight to sink down and then reaching those right fingertips forward. And stretch that right hip now a little bit away, kind of behind you, so you get an elongation, this time through the right side of the body. Bring the hands back to the floor. A little few more cat and cows. And again, feel free to linger in one or the other. But as we kind of roll through this one, definitely try not to pull your navel in too much. Just go with the idea of moving the spine and stretching out the belly. Tuck the toes, and again, send the hips back, stretching out the arms. See if the head can come to the floor. And as we allow the knees to just wobble left to right, stretching out the hips here. And as you move, you're really taking into account your mood, how you're feeling. And maybe we cannot change it, but it's useful to note different changes that do happen, just so we can start to accept them. Even knowing can help us really see what happens
every cycle, and to deeper understand ourselves. Nice. Bring the knees back onto the floor, coming up into a downward facing dog. Stretching out those backs of the legs, really pushing into the heels, maybe lifting up the toes. Nice. And taking the feet and coming to the front of the mat. Now let's cross them immediately so we can go back to a seated down position. We're going to take our backs to the floor to lie down. And bring the hands on the belly. Turning the toes in a little, letting the heels flick out. And taking a few breaths here, returning to that mantra that you picked, I am. And again, really let that sink into you, those words, but also the knowledge. Again, you know, if you tend to be a busy mind, that doing this practice and doing a much slower down practice than normal is really exactly what you need right now. And it's perfectly okay. It's more than okay. It's you listening to your body and you giving yourself permission to listen, to understand the ebb and flow of the changes within ourselves that happen, and to accept, but then slowly also appreciate that, which is hard. Nice. So gently peeling the feet off the floor, reaching the feet up into the ceiling and just rolling the ankles one way and then the other. Bending at the knees, grabbing the soles of the feet, and then just slowly kind of pulling the knees down slightly. Nice. Legs up in the air and pointing the toes this time, really stretching out the fronts of the feet. Also quite nice to let the feet dangle up in the air, really draining out any tired legs that might be occurring. A little bit longer. Now taking that left foot to the floor and that right knee to bend and then bring it a little bit away from the belly. So to the right hand side, squeezing the leg close to you, close kind of towards your armpit. And then releasing right leg to the floor, bending left knee. Take it away from the belly towards the left and squeezing it down. Nice, both legs back up in the air. That'd be quite nice to just gently open up the legs. So kind of take it, you can bend the knees as well, but take the knees or the legs nice and wide and you can put your hands over it to just encourage a little stretch in the inner thighs. It's quite nice to do a bunch of hip work. It might relieve a little bit of, like the cramping or tight feeling down the center of the body. Nice. And bring the knees together, squeeze a little to your chest and just drop them to the right hand side, enjoying an easy twist. Knees up, a little squeeze and drop them to the left. Nice, and then knees back up to the center. And just rolling the hips open now, holding the knees, rolling them one way. And then the other. Reaching the legs up again, rolling out the ankles. One way, and then the other. And now taking your bolster, if you've got one, if not, just grab a pillow. You're gonna make it nice and even with all the beads in there. Placing the knees on them and kind of let the legs flay apart a little and come into your Shavasana. So wriggle, wriggle, wriggle as many times as you need, as much as you like to get yourself really comfortable. Make yourself as comfortable as possible, especially behind the shoulders, especially around your inner thighs and your hips. Really let those legs go. And you can place your hands, again, just really anywhere you like on your mat, palms to face up. Or if maybe you feel like curling in a little bit more, you can take your hands to your belly, or you can go one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. And again, just choosing really, it's quite symbolic maybe where we put our hands as a way to try and connect to ourselves. So just pick whatever resonates with you. And you're going to focus maybe on the feeling of a sensation of letting go. I think always coming into our cycles every month, it's a literal shedding. And it can also feel that way emotionally. And that is another reason why it's really nice to take the time to process and slow down, to grab our energy, maybe sit with how we feel, kind of notice what this new opportunity of rejuvenation is, this time of rest. And to start changing our minds to really embracing this change, embracing this natural thing that happens to our bodies that is so much part of us. And seeing them as opportunities for change, but seeing that change as a good thing. Really accepting and learning in ourselves that we're not worse or less productive or less of who we are because we've slowed down for as long as you need. Or we've had to change what we could normally achieve and do in a day, in 3 days, in however many days. But to see and love this importance of this time that is really personal to you. This time that we're really fortunate to have for reflection. And changing this narrative of perhaps it being troublesome or a downer or difficult, but seeing that indeed our perspective around it and our energy around it can shift. Really embracing the flow of change and of life.
Taking a nice deep breath through the nose, sighing out through the mouth. And do this as many times as it feels good. Before you open your eyes or move again, just again going back to your mantra. This serves as a nice anchor for the next week, maybe the next whole month. I am calm. I am worthy. I am relaxed. Whatever your word was. And again, just give it a few breaths. Really let that sink in as the truth. Just slowly letting your head roll from side to side. You're rolling the ankles, rolling the wrists. And taking a nice full body stretch as you're still lying down. Then either just roll up to seated, or you can flop to one side and meet me all the way back up in seated whenever you're ready. Maybe if you can do this continually with the eyes closed, that's quite nice still to sort of bring the Shavasana upwards. Bring your palms in prayer. Namaste. Thank you so much. I hope you found that helpful, and I hope you feel, if you're on your period now, kind of calm and a little bit more balanced maybe in your feelings, in your head, in your body. And so again, a main takeaway is that it's okay to change it up and slow down. And you'll start to be able to tune into yourself to kind of know when you pick it back up a little bit in energy for your practice. But we need to start to just slowly get rid of any guilt that we associate with changing it up and this kind of practice perhaps being enough or not enough. And start to see it as how we can really use our yoga practice to suit our changing lives constantly, and how it can best nourish us. So again, I hope you found that helpful. It was a little bit short, but I hope you got kind of the gist and a nice takeaway from that. Thank you for joining, and I'll just leave this running for a bit, but if you have any questions, pop them on the chat box. I'm just going to kind of potter and put things back. Thanks for joining. If you've got to go, I'll see you next time. Yeah. Oh, hey, Megan. Thanks for joining. I really hope that was helpful. It's so much in the intention, I think, of practice that changes when we're on a period, and letting go of so much guilt. That's like a major, major thing. Great. So again, I'll leave it running for a bit. I'm just going to turn off some lights. If you guys have any more questions, please just let me, just type it in, and I'll come and check back in a second. All right. I'm going to clock off now, but thanks for joining. Any questions, just email us or send it to our Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and we'll get back to you on it. Thank you. Bye.